Hello, my fellow minor league nerds, and welcome to the first episode of our new series, Special Episodes. In this series, we will actually talk about subjects, people, events, different things that don't actually fit in with our other series. This first one is actually about National Hat Day, where I will be talking about my rather extensive baseball hat collection. I live in a Chicago bungalow, which means the roof of my house is vaulted. So I don't actually have one large room with big four walls that I can place all my hats. So I had to get creative. At my wife's suggestion, I started hanging them in the stairway that leads upstairs to my memorabilia room. After running out of room there, I had to get creative again and actually started hanging them from the ceiling in the room. So this episode, we will look at my collection, how I display them, and my little narration as we go through. So I hope you enjoy this. Sit back, relax, and let's look at some hats. So when I open the doorway to go up my stairs, this is what I'm greeted with. It's my first thing I see are my Florida State League, my Carolina League, and my California League hats. So over here is the California League, which actually starts, you can see there with the Fresno Grizzlies, going all the way down through the Lake Elsinore Storm, Stockton Ports, ending with the Visalia Rawhide, and down here are the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. The Florida State League is one of my smallest collections, where I only have 3 hats, and then there's the Carolina League, and then over here we have the Northwest League. Coming all the way down to, can't really see it too well, was the Viñeros from Tri-City. As we go over, we end up in the Midwest League, which is my largest league collection that I actually have in the minors. You can see going all the way down to the Madison Muskies. There's the Swing of the Quad Cities. And then here's the Beloit Skycarp / Snappers, which is my largest single non-major league team with 11 different hats. Over here we're in the South Atlantic League. You can see the old Utica Blue Sox there, a couple from the Asheville Tourists, Brooklyn Cyclones, there's the Queens Kings, all the way down to Greenville. Over here is the Texas League. So I actually place my hats, I do them in an order of affiliate or of classification, and then by league in geographical order. So if a team such as the Wichita Wind Surge, who was supposed to be a Pacific Coast League team, their history goes all the way back to the Denver Zephyrs. So that's why you'll see certain teams that are in the classification of the team now, not what they were. So here is the Eastern League going down, and now we're going into the Southern League. There's the Birmingham Barons, Chattanooga Lookouts, and the Montgomery Biscuits. Continuing now over to the Eastern League with some Pacific Coast League teams coming in. That hat with the red hat with the star, that's the old Hollywood Stars. There's my several Erie Seawolves hats. Altoona Curve. One of my favorites, the Binghamton Triplets, old AA team. And then coming all the way up top, there's the Phoenix Firebirds, the Oklahoma City 89ers, and the Oklahoma City Dodgers. 2 old Portland Beavers hats. Now we're moving into my Major League hats, and these are my American League hats. You can see I have several Baltimore Orioles and St. Louis Browns hats. Going into, there's the Boston Red Sox, 1 Chicago White Sox hat, the Washington Senators, who became the Texas Rangers, and then now we're moving into the National League. There's an old Boston Bees, now Atlanta Braves. Up at the top there was the Federal League, Chicago Whales. There's my Negro League hats next to the National League hats. Ending down with the the Montreal Expos and the Negro League team from Wichita. And now we're on to my International League AAA hats. You can see there's Tulsa Oilers, who were an old team that used to play in the American Association, but the team ended up moving to Louisville to become the Louisville Bats. And several Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, the team that I have. Oh, and there's my finger. The Jumbo Shrimp are a team I have the biggest collection of that I've never actually seen. And now we're on to the defunct teams. So these are old Southern Association, American Association teams. There's the old the Vancouver Mounties, the Jacksonville Braves, Austin Senators, Myrtle Beach Pelicans, and now continuing on with the defunct teams. There's an old DeLand Red Hats, Joplin Miners, the Staten Island Pizza Rats, and now we're moving into my Appalachian League teams. Sorry for the shadow, but it's kind of hard to film video in a small, narrow staircase. There's the Nashua Dodgers, an old Newark Bears hat. That P hat there is the Montreal Black Panthers. And now we're into my Atlantic League hats. Charleston Charlies, which were sold by the Charleston Dirty Birds, Lexington, the old Lexington Legends, and then York. And here's two CFL hats I have, as well as three Pacific Coast League hats. One of my prized hats there, the old Los Angeles Angels. So you might have noticed that several hats, there were multiples. By not having enough room to place my hats, I actually had to, in some cases, double and triple up on the hats. You can see here's three Montreal Royals hats that I had to all store together because I just don't have that much room. Now we're on to the Independents. This is the Frontier League on the left and the American Association on the right. I have most of the Frontier League I have are just Chicago area, since there are so many in this area of the country. There's an old Southern Illinois Miners hat. There's my Chicago Dogs hats. And now we're on to the Pioneer League on the left and the MLB Draft League, which I've not actually been to a Draft League game yet, but these are all, I visited all but one before they were transferred over. There's my USPBL hats. There's the old Connecticut Tigers, the Auburn Doubledays. You can see some of my White Sox bobbleheads there. And this hat right here, that White Sox hat, is the oldest in my collection, belonging to my sister from the late 70s. There's the Jamestown Jammers, and then the Tarp Skunk. Here's my Coastal Plain League hats. I've never actually visited a Coastal Plain League team, but I've got several hats in my collection. There's my Burlington Bees. Underneath, you can't see those, my old Burlington Expos. And here's my second largest non-major league collection, the Clinton Lumber Kings, as well as the Elotes. And now we're over on more of the Prospect League, as well as the North Woods League. There's my my Cascade Collegiate League hats. That gap there was supposed to be the 3 additional hats I needed, but the league never sent me the money, or sent me the hat. Thankfully, I bought through PayPal and was able to get my money back. Ending on the Wild Wild West League, the Texas division, which never played. Here's the Wild Wild West League that plays in Portland. Here are my independent collegiate summer league teams. There's my Savannah Bananas, the Party Animals, the old Rubber Chickens, and these are my soccer team hats, which I have 6 different hats. Now it's on to my hockey hats. My hockey collection, my NHL collection, I decided I'm only going to buy hats of the 21 teams that existed when I got into hockey back in the early 80s. So that's why there's so many old hats. Several of those are my only snapbacks. And then here at the Chicago Shamrocks, the Johnstown Jets, the Moose Jaw Canucks, and the Buffalo Sabres, which are all from Ebbets Flannel. There's the Rockford Ice Hogs, the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Seattle Metropolitans, who were the first American team to win the Stanley Cup. Now we're moving on to my World Baseball Classic hats. I started my collection with this WBC. Been wanting to have the collection since it started in '06, but for various reasons wasn't able to actually start buying hats until this current one, with Korea and Nicaragua being the last two I needed in order to complete my collection. So these are two other CFL hats for the Hamilton Tiger Cats that a friend of mine who's from Hamilton, currently living in Toronto, gave to me. These are also snapbacks, so they join the very small snapback collection that I have. And then this is my only dad hat, gift from Anna D. Tomaso. And then a Velcro hat that a friend of mine who went to Vietnam got for me because he knows I love hats and flags. So this is my White Sox collection, which is the largest collection of any single team in my entire collection. I have 43 White Sox caps, going from all the way back to when the team first started, all the way up to the cap that they wear today, which started wearing in 1991. The current hat is actually the one that I have the most of. I have 14 different variations of it. Some you can see have the World Series logo on, some have the World Series Championship, and then several of them are just replacements because they got old and smelly and shrunk and just weren't that comfortable to wear. This hat right here with the SOX with the bat in it is actually the one that I wore on my wedding day and at my wedding reception. And then there's the very ugly Division Champion 05 hat. Well, my fellow minor league nerds, that's going to do it for this first episode of Special Episodes. I thank you for your support. Sorry that I kind of was rambling on during this episode. Usually I write a script, but I didn't write one for this one. It was kind of haphazardly put together really quickly. So I also apologize for the poor camera work. I'm not a camera operator, and I was just filming on my cell phone in, like I said earlier, a narrow staircase. So I thank you for watching and sticking through the video. And as always, never stop supporting minor league baseball and never stop learning about minor league baseball history. And we'll see you next time.